The story of Scuttlejack actually has been swirling around in my mind for well over 30 years. In the late 1970s, not long after I'd begun to freelance, I got a call from a fisherman, and he wanted me to write a story, which I did. I wrote it for the Toronto Star in 1978. This man had leased his fish boat to his two sons, the wife of one of the sons, and the boy's cousin, his niece. And they vanished without a trace, never seen again. This man was convinced they were hijacked. Well, they always say you should write what you know, and I know the West Coast. My family has 6 generations here on Vancouver Island, and for 40 years my writing is almost exclusively focused on the West Coast. And I think that familiarity is important to any story that I write about the coast. I'm comfortable writing here, and I hope that shows in my writing. Certainly the reviews so far about Scuttlejack have mentioned that the coast comes alive, that people who are from here feel at home, and people who aren't from here really get a taste of the place that the story is set. Some people have suggested that Scuttlejack is somewhat autobiographical, that Quinn is my alter ego. Certainly we do share some characteristics. We both grew up on Vancouver Island. We both began our journalistic careers as police reporters for Victoria Times. We both spend a lot of time around boats. We're avid rowers, avid cyclists. But Quinn and I differ in many ways. I have a very happy marriage. Quinn's marriage is on the rocks. I have 2 lovely daughters. Quinn has a stepdaughter whom he loves dearly, but he doesn't have his own children, and he wants his own children. He still has that opportunity, though. He's 20 years younger than I, so Quinn could still raise a family. But Quinn differs in many ways. He's certainly better off than I. I've done very well as a writer, but Quinn as a writer is verging on rich. He's better looking than I. He's in better shape than I. So he's more of a fictitious character than me, a boring old writer. Everyone in fiction is bits and pieces of people we know. Friends, acquaintances, even people we don't like. You take those bits and pieces and we assemble them into characters that suit our purposes. Old Hogarth, for example, the octogenarian who lives up on top of Willis Point, and he spends all of his days and his nights looking down over everything that happens in Brentwood Bay through his telescope. I see traces of my own late father in Hogarth, of my own late father-in-law in Hogarth, who was also, like Hogarth, a doctor. Hogarth, for this story, is really not integral to the plot, but he's mainly color. And I had a terrible time trying to decide if Hogarth should die before the end of the story. Some days I wanted him, some days I wanted him dead. Unlike Hogarth, Annie Green plays a greater role in the development of the plot. Like Hogarth, she's color, but she does have a more prominent part to play in how the story of Scuttlejack unfolds. But she's other things for me in the plot as well. And she's 12 years old. She's in a wheelchair. So people sympathize with her as a child that's crippled. But Annie, of course, is the first to reject that sympathy. But 2 things, really. People like children, I think, and people like miracles. And in this story, Annie Green is both the child I need, and she's my miracle. I hope the next Damon Quinn mystery is out by next Christmas. I've offered these books, these mysteries, as a series, and I think the readers rightly expect to see them on a regular basis. Certainly you need 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 out there before Damon Quinn becomes a household name. Scuttlejack? It's in the dictionary, isn't it?